Have you ever seen someone who has big dreams, big plans, and big promises, but almost nothing changes in their life? They say, tomorrow I will start. They say, next week I will fix my life. They say, one day I will become successful. But tomorrow comes, next week comes, and one day never arrives. At first, people call them lazy. Their family says, you are wasting your time. Their teachers say, you are not trying hard enough. Their friends say, you have potential, but you do not use it. And sometimes the person also believes it. I am just lazy. I am weak. I have no discipline. But what if laziness is not always the real problem? What if laziness is only the surface? What if behind a lazy person there is fear, stress, low confidence, confusion, emotional exhaustion, or a mind that no longer knows where to begin? Today, we are going to talk about the psychology of a lazy person. Not to insult lazy people, not to shame them, but to understand them. Because when we understand the real reason behind laziness, we can finally learn how to fight it. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man named Daniel. Daniel was 22 years old. He was not unintelligent. In fact, when he was younger, many people believed he was smart. His teachers used to say, Daniel can do more if he only focuses. His parents believed he had talent. His friends knew he was creative. But as Daniel grew older, something changed. Every morning, he woke up late. He checked his phone before getting out of bed. 5 minutes became 30 minutes. 30 minutes became 2 hours. By the time he finally stood up, he already felt tired. He had plans. He wanted to exercise. He wanted to study. He wanted to learn a new skill. He wanted to apply for a better job. He wanted to improve his life. But every day he ended up doing the same things. Scrolling, watching videos, eating, lying down, thinking, overthinking, then feeling guilty. At night, Daniel would look at himself and say, what is wrong with me? Why can't I just move? He hated being called lazy, but deep inside, he also believed it might be true. One day, his younger sister asked him a simple question. Kuya Daniel, why do you always say you will start, but you never start? Daniel wanted to answer. He wanted to say, because I am tired. He wanted to say, because I am scared. He wanted to say, because I do not know if I can still succeed, but instead he only smiled and said, I will start soon. That night, he could not sleep. For the first time, he asked himself honestly, am I really lazy, or am I avoiding something? That question became the beginning of his change. Many people think laziness means a person does not care. But in psychology, behavior always has a reason. A person does not just avoid work for no reason. Sometimes, laziness is a form of protection. A brain wants to avoid pain. If a task feels too hard, too confusing, too boring, or too scary, the brain searches for comfort. It chooses the easier path. It chooses entertainment, sleep, food, social media, games, or anything that gives quick relief. That is why a lazy person is often not relaxed. A lazy person may look calm on the outside, but inside there is pressure. They know they have responsibilities. They know they are falling behind. They know time is passing, but the more they think about it, the heavier it feels. So they escape again. This is the cycle. Avoid the task, feel temporary comfort, then feel guilt, then feel stress, then avoid again. This is why laziness can become a trap. Daniel was trapped in that cycle. Every time he planned to study, his mind said, what if you fail? Every time he planned to apply for work, his mind said, what if they reject you? Every time he planned to exercise, his mind said, you will stop again anyway. So instead of trying, he delayed. He told himself, I will do it later. But later became his hiding place. This is one of the biggest psychological reasons behind laziness: fear of failure. Some people do not start because they are not interested, but many people do not start because starting means facing the possibility of failing. If they never try, they can still tell themselves, maybe I could have succeeded. But if they try and fail, the truth becomes painful. So the mind protects the ego by avoiding effort. This is why some lazy people are actually perfectionists. It sounds strange, but it is true. A perfectionist does not always look hardworking. Sometimes a perfectionist becomes frozen. They say, if I cannot do it perfectly, I will not do it at all. They wait for the perfect time, perfect motivation, perfect plan, perfect energy, perfect confidence. But life does not work that way. The perfect moment rarely comes, so they stay stuck. Daniel was like this. He wanted to start a small online business, but he kept saying, I need to research more. He wanted to exercise, but he said, I need the right shoes first. He wanted to improve his English, but he said, I need more time. Actually, he did not need perfect conditions. He needed one small action, but his mind made every task look like a mountain. Another reason behind laziness is low self-belief. When a person believes, I can do this, action becomes easier. But when a person believes, I am not good enough, even simple tasks feel heavy. Imagine two students with the same homework. The first student thinks, this is difficult, but I can try. The second student thinks, I am stupid, I will fail anyway. Which student will start faster? Of course, the first one. The second student may avoid the homework, not because they are lazy, but because the homework attacks their confidence. For many people, laziness is not a lack of energy. It is a lack of belief. They do not believe their effort will work. So the brain asks, why try? This is called learned helplessness. It happens when a person experiences failure, rejection, disappointment, or criticism many times. After a while, they stop trying because they feel nothing will change. Daniel had this problem. When he was in school, he failed an important exam. His father was angry and told him, you never take your life seriously. Those words stayed in his mind. Later, when he failed again, he started to believe, maybe I really am useless. Every failure became proof. Every mistake became evidence. Every delay became identity. He did not just say, I acted lazy today. He said, I am lazy, and that is dangerous. Because when behavior becomes identity, change becomes harder. There is a big difference between saying, I did not study today, and saying, I am a lazy person. The first one is an action. The second one is a label. Actions can change. Labels feel permanent. That is why one of the first steps to overcoming laziness is to stop attacking your identity. Do not say, I am lazy. Say, I am practicing discipline. Do not say, I am useless. Say, I am learning how to start. Do not say, I always fail. Say, I am building a better system. Words matter because the brain listens. Another psychological reason behind laziness is emotional exhaustion. Some people look lazy, but they are actually burned out. Burnout happens when the mind and body are tired from too much stress, too much pressure, or too many responsibilities for a long time. A burned out person may sleep a lot, but still feel tired. They may avoid work, not because they do not care, but because their emotional battery is empty. This is common among students, workers, parents, and young adults who carry silent pressure. They smile outside, but inside they are tired. They say, I am okay, but their mind is overloaded. Daniel did not realize he was emotionally tired. He was not working hard physically, but mentally he was carrying guilt every day. He felt guilty for disappointing his parents, guilty for wasting time, guilty for not improving, guilty for being behind his friends. Guilt is heavy. And when guilt becomes too heavy, the person may stop moving. This is why shame does not always motivate people. Sometimes shame makes people worse. When you tell a person, you are lazy, you are useless, you are a failure, you may think you are pushing them, but sometimes you are burying them deeper. Encouragement does not mean tolerating laziness. It means helping the person see that change is still possible. A school psychologist would not simply say, "Stop being lazy." A good educator asks, "What is blocking this student? Is it fear? Is it confusion? Is it stress? Is it lack of structure? Is it low confidence? Is it too much screen time? Is it depression? Is it lack of sleep?" Because laziness can have many roots. And if you treat only the surface, the problem comes back. Now let us talk about the role of dopamine. Dopamine is a brain chemical connected to motivation, reward, and pleasure. When you watch short videos, play games, check notifications, or eat sweet food, your brain gets quick rewards. These rewards are easy. No waiting, no effort, no struggle. But important goals usually give slow rewards. Studying does not feel good immediately. Exercise does not show results in one day. Building a business does not bring success overnight. Saving money does not feel exciting at first. So the brain compares. Social media gives pleasure now. Hard work gives reward later. A lazy brain often chooses now. This does not mean the person is bad. It means their brain has been trained to prefer quick comfort over long-term growth. Daniel experienced this every day. He would open his phone for one video. Then the algorithm gave him another video. Then another. Then another. Each video was short, easy, and entertaining. Meanwhile, his real life became more difficult. The more he consumed easy pleasure, the harder real effort felt. That is why discipline is not only about willpower. It is also about environment. If your phone is beside your bed, you will check it. If junk food is on the table, you will eat it. If your study area is messy, you will avoid it. If your friends only talk about wasting time, you may waste time too. Environment shapes behavior. So if you want to change laziness, do not only say, "I need motivation." Fix your environment. Daniel's change did not happen in one dramatic moment. He did not wake up one day and become a completely different person. Real change usually starts small. One morning, Daniel made a simple rule: no phone for the first 30 minutes after waking up. At first, it was hard. His hand automatically searched for the phone, but he placed it across the room. Then he made another rule: make the bed first. It sounded too simple, but that small action gave him a small win. And he drank water. Then he walked outside for 10 minutes. Not 1 hour, not a perfect workout, just 10 minutes. After 1 week, Daniel noticed something. He still had problems. He still had fears, but he no longer felt completely stuck. Small actions started to change his self-image. He began to think, maybe I can control myself. That is powerful. Confidence is not built by thinking only. Confidence is built by evidence. Every small action becomes evidence. When you finish one task, your brain says, I can do something. When you keep one promise to yourself, your brain says, I can trust myself. When you show up even for 5 minutes, your brain says, I am becoming disciplined. This is why small habits are important. Lazy people often make the mistake of trying to change everything at once. Laziness is not always about being weak, careless, or irresponsible. Sometimes what people call lazy is actually fear, confusion, stress, low confidence, or emotional exhaustion. A person may want to change, but their mind feels overwhelmed before they even begin. The story explains Daniel, a young man who wanted to improve his life but kept delaying everything. He planned to wake up early, exercise, study, and become successful, but his goals were too big and unclear. Because of this, he failed quickly and started believing he could never change. The biggest lesson is this: change does not begin with a perfect plan. It begins with one small action. 5 minutes of reading, 5 minutes of cleaning, 5 minutes of walking, or one simple task can break the cycle of laziness. The goal is not to finish everything immediately. The goal is to start. Daniel slowly changed when he stopped calling himself lazy and began saying, "I am rebuilding myself." He learned that discipline is not punishment. Discipline is self-respect. It means caring enough about your future to take action today. In the end, the message is powerful. Maybe you're not truly lazy. Maybe you're tired, scared, overwhelmed, or stuck. But one small, brave step can begin your transformation. The opposite of laziness is not pressure. The opposite of laziness is movement.